Hey world, it's your host Marshall. Thanks for tuning into my podcast, Run On Thoughts. Here we talk about everything and nothing because we are not afraid to be all of ourselves even as we evolve. And that's my thought for my fellow thought thinkers as we unpack our traumas, past hurts, and other BS. Y'all ready? Let's go. Hey, thought thinkers, thanks for tuning in to another episode of runONthoughts. I am so excited to be here this early Sunday morning to unpack and unlearn some behaviors with you. But before we get started, I want to stand in a place of gratitude and simply say thank you. Thank you to anyone who has listened and those of you who have been on this journey with me from the very beginning. I say thank you. My goal is to help you help yourself. If after an episode you feel like you need to seek help from someone who is a doctor or authorized to help you, I welcome you because I am realizing that as a community, the goal is to give us the balls to stand 10 toes down in our authentic self. And sometimes that means that we need to seek out help. And that is okay. Whatever you need to be your best self is okay. With that, I welcome you guys to go to runONthoughts.com or any podcast streaming service that you listen to and listen to Run On Thoughts. Then I want you to subscribe. I want you to share. I really want you to become a thought thinker. And this week's episode is inspired by a thought thinker. I got an email about last week's episode where we talked about real ones, why you should stop trying to be liked. And someone asked me how. And we talked about the why. So this week, I want to delve in a little deeper and talk about how. The truth is, episode 122, you are not their opinion. You are not their opinion. Why do you give a fuck? Why do you care? But I want to share a word. Today's word is not a single word. It's called validation dependent, right? It's clear and accurate. It means that you rely on external approval to define yourself. You are so attached to what other people think of you that you believe that that is your identity, and it's not. Some of you are conformists. That's a good word, right? You can conform to societal expectations or norm, often to gain approval. And this need for approval from people who I believe, and because I like to observe, I am telling you guys that most of them are not even freaking happy. We out here following fools and wonder why the world is upside down. Wondering why you are miserable because you have absorbed all of the things that mean nothing, thinking that it would aid you in getting to the destination that you want to get to. And now you find yourself sitting alone in tears, in thought, unable to focus because you are wearing a mask. You are wearing someone else's story, wondering why you are unfulfilled. That is not your story. And if you are in somebody else's storyline, you're in the wrong book. And if you are in the wrong book, how? How can the blessings that are designed specifically to you find you? I keep having this conversation with you guys. How can your blessings or even your lessons, the lesson to get to your blessing, can't find you if you are constantly faking it, right? So, in this episode, I want to explore how we absorb and adopt other people's beliefs, both praise and criticism, and how doing so quietly shapes and often limits our sense of identity, right? These are habits and why it feels safe to you. It's a momentary safeness, right? Because it has a cost. Every time you are following shit that is not for you and it feels like you are getting immediate gratification, I am here to tell you that the cost later is greater, right? Like being a diabetic like me and eating that piece of cake after you had just had pasta, the punishment of eating all of those carbs is far greater than saying, you know what, I'm just going to have a meat and vegetable because I want this cake. Meaning that we have to learn how to make decisions that best serve who we are and not necessarily what we think we want. And that think word is important because you think you want something because you are attaching yourself to someone else's story and you think that they're happy and you think that the way they did it can work for you. But you are a unique human being. You are a unique creature. So you have to become in tune with yourself because our bodies are a shell. We have to take care of our insides, right? How many versions of yourself are you carrying that you have handed to you by someone else? How many versions of yourself are you carrying that were handed to you by someone else? Let's unpack the heavy weight of carrying other people's stories, especially, especially when they start to drown out your own voice. Remember those childhood critiques? All these adult expectations both feel so heavy when you're simply trying to just figure out who you are, and then you're holding this extra burden with all these internalized voices that were never yours to begin with. But the truth is, boy, I love the truth. When Cat Williams said the truth will come out, man, I didn't believe that he meant everything. But the truth is, you don't have to accept someone else's version of you. You can break out of the spell of other people's opinions and reclaim the truth about who you are. It's easy to start seeing yourself through someone else's lens. Maybe it was that third grade teacher who calls you too much. They called me too much, but they don't understand who I am. All I heard was they are not enough. I have never been able to internalize what other people think of me. And that is the real strategy here, right? Observing without internalizing. I saw somebody say that when I was on TikTok and they were talking about the movie Stray from Tyler Perry, and two things can be true at the same time, right? And I'm going to go into that in another episode. But the truth of the matter is that there are people who didn't like the movie because it's trauma, 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 trauma. But I think that you have an important responsibility to yourself to observe and not absorb. And I guess that would be harder for an empath. I am not an empath. I observe and then I am able, and then I go out and try to help you not give a damn so much about what other people think about you. But I do want to explore that concept of taking in other people's shit. You do not have to, right? You do not have to accept someone else's version of you. And that's what I mean. That third grade teacher who told you that you were too much, your mother or father who never affirmed you, right? I never got that because my mom had passed on and my father wasn't there for the entire early part of my life. I make no excuses about that, but I was not affirmed. I had to learn how to affirm myself. Or for many of us, those relationships that made you question your worth because they come in love baiting and manipulating and gaslighting you, right? These stories, they can stick and they start to shape how we speak to ourselves and how we show up in the world. But you are not a mirror for their fears, right? You are not a mirror for their projections or assumptions. You are not their opinion. You are your own beautiful, imperfect, messy, beautiful story. That's what I want to explore today. Why exactly do we internalize opinions and make them feel like truth? I keep telling you guys we're social creatures, right? That means that we are interconnected. And there is nothing wrong with being interconnected. We are wired for belonging. We all want to belong. But I think it is important to know where you belong. Belonging just to belong to where you stand is no longer acceptable. You get to go out. Remember my word for the entire year. Curate. You get to go out and curate the life you want. Yes, you did not get to do this as a child, but as an adult, you have choices. And that's the beauty. Yes, you were traumatized. Yes, you were hurt. Yes, all the things. But I want to be the person to tell you that you do not have to stand 10 toes down in the shit. Climb out of the shit, get in the shower, get in the river, get in the ocean, and cleanse yourself of other people's shit. From childhood, I know you absorb all of these stupid messages, direct and indirect, about who we're allowed to be. Over time, these external narratives become our inner monologue. When a parent, teacher, partner tells us we're too much or worse, not enough, we don't just hear it, we become it. And we allow these voices to play games in our head. And because these voices are playing games in our head, we can't concentrate. How many of you have, Lord, I'm getting tongue tied. How many of you have ever ended a relationship? And it didn't have to be a romantic relationship. But in the relationship, you felt heavy. You felt sick. You thought you needed mental help. You thought something was wrong with you. And then for whatever reason, the relationship ended. And when the relationship ended, at first it was a heavy burden. And then all of a sudden, this clarity comes over you. It's because you can think your own thoughts. They are not wrestling with the ideas and notions of other people. Ask yourself, whose fucking voice is living rent free in your head, and why does it feel like your own? Why? I don't want it to feel like theirs. We have to begin the process of clearing out the clutter. We talk about the baggage, right? But all of this baggage lives in our body. Right? It is a literal metaphor for the inside of your body, your mind, your soul, your spirit, your thoughts, the real you, not just the shell of a body. That's why you have to sit with the shit sometimes and unpack it and go through it. And I know it's not easy. I know for a fact that it is not easy to unpack all of the shit that other people have given you. I also know that some of us feel shame and we exist in this people pleasing trap, right? It traps us in false identities. Shame tells us that we are bad, not just that we did something wrong, right? Shame makes you feel the weight of the thing. I did something wrong doesn't mean that I am bad. I did something bad. Stop taking on all of these words, because what you guys don't know is that words have strong power. And I think that's what I'm going to talk about next week, about how these words and ideas and concepts, they are strong and powerful. Everything we ask for, everything we tell the universe has consequences. If you say you want to be strong, be ready, because you are going to be tested. You just don't become strong, if that makes sense. But back to shame. When we fear rejection or disapproval, we overcorrect by becoming who others want us to be. People pleasing is a mask, but the cost is that you abandon yourself. You can't be who you are and who they want you to be at the same time. So many times I tell you guys that people tell me that I am rude because I set boundaries. I set boundaries for me. And it is okay for them to set boundaries for them. And it is even okayer for us to not be able to proceed because my boundary, right, and their boundary doesn't line up. That's okay. It is okay, because I got to stand 10 toes down in who I am, and they got to stand 10 toes down in who they are, right? We got to stop this shit. You can't care of other people's borrowed beliefs, right? I'm not borrowing how you feel. I know how I feel. I know exactly how I feel. And you know exactly how you feel too. You know how you feel, because you're so busy, like last week's episode, trying to make people feel good. You got to slowly become who they want you to be. And that means that letting go can feel like grief. 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 Letting go can feel like grief. But I keep telling you guys, it can also feel like freedom. You start to challenge thoughts. You start to challenge those ideas of, I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. I have to earn love. When you let go of these things, I tell you guys, it's not rebellion. It's remembrance. You are remembering who you are. You don't owe loyalty to a lie. Ooh. Even if you've lived it for years. If that evil predator told you that you were ugly or that you were not special, so that they could take over your mind and control you and make you feel unworthy, you do not have to live the lie. You do not owe loyalty to a lie. Give it back. They were asserting their darkness over you. They are asserting their power over you in order to control you. Give it back. It is not yours to carry. You get the power of self-definition. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Marshall. I know that was corny, but you have to know who you are. You get to decide who you are today. Reintroducing yourself is Reintroducing yourself isn't being fake. It's being free. It's saying that may have been me then, It may have been you then. It may not have been. Because remember, you are channeling all of these ideas and concepts from the outside world, and they are shooting at you so fast that it may have been you then. But you do not have to carry that version of you anymore. I am who I am. This is who I am now. This is who I want to be now because it is authentic to me. And you can say it out loud often. People are usually confused when I tell them that I talk to myself and I answer myself. I'm not here to be digestible to other people. I'm not here to shrink for other people. I am not waiting for validation to make the moves that I need to make in my life because I understand that the people who love me won't need an explanation. The people who demand an explanation about who I am were never listening anyway. Stop asking for permission to be yourself. It's killing you because I'm telling you that they are not happy either. You do not need permission to be yourself. You need to look in the mirror and you need to give permission to yourself to stop asking others for permission. Now make that make sense. Make that make sense. This is your permission. If you need permission, then I am giving it to you. This is your permission slip to stop trying to fit into frames that were never made for you. It is not your picture. It is not your story. It is not your canvas. Absorb that. Absorb that. Look in the mirror. Stop right now and look in the mirror as you're listening to me. I am affirming that you belong to you. Notice the narrative. Catch yourself when you hear a voice in your head that doesn't sound like yours. Who taught you to think about this? Who taught you to think this way about yourself? Ground yourself in evidence. That is the 10 toes down in who you are. Challenge these external judgments with your own lived proof. The things you've done, overcome, learned, or loved about yourself. Create a personal truth statement. Write a clear, powerful statement of who you are in your own words. Use it to redirect your mind when these old stories surface. This is how I start my podcast. I am all of myself even as I evolve. That is my personal statement. I am Marshall. But I understand the importance of evolution so that I can move forward. I am evolving even why today I am me and tomorrow I will be a better me. I am all of myself even as I evolve. What is your personal statement for you? You must have things in this crazy life that bring you back to the center of who you are. Limit access, not empathy. You can still care for others while being selective about who you allow to shape your identity. Not everyone gets a say. This is why it is so important to curate your village. This is why I am in control about what I watch. And this is why I'm even in them talking about the movie Straw. I am observing. I am not absorbing. Right? Because I don't see it as a one truth. I see it as a truth. It is not the truth about all of us. It is just a truth. There are people who live this life. I live a different life, but I have lived some of that life. And it is okay to see and observe. And for me, I felt a sense of gratitude over the life that I have. because I am always standing where I am always standing in a state of gratitude. I am observing. I am not letting it penetrate my soul. Practice this reintroduction. Allow me to reintroduce myself. Say it in the mirror. Because when you grow, evolve, or wake up to who you really are and reintroduce yourself first to you, then to the world, girl, you are powerful beyond measure. Because ultimately, that's what they were trying to take from you. And that's what you were giving them. You were giving them your power. Isn't that crazy? You were giving them your power. I've been there. I have often given away my power. I tell you guys that I have always known exactly who I am. But still, the societal pressures, the noise from the outside, the indoctrinations, the things that I have seen other women and other men do. I believe that that was the way, because when you don't know any better, you do as you see. We mimic, we mock. And I told you what I thought about womanhood. I used to believe that my womanhood was attached to how men saw me. And because of that, I would judge other women and myself for what I did. But I believe that being a quote unquote good woman would make the world treat me like a princess. It is not true. There is nothing that you could do to get those who do not value you to treat you well. You have to first value yourself. You cannot care, and your identity cannot be attached to what other people think of you. My identity was attached to how other people valued me. And as I grew more into myself and did the unpacking and explored who I really am, I recognized that I am a woman. But I am the woman that I have decided that I want to be based on my likes, based on my wants. What brings me joy? What gives me peace when I stand alone? I am not a servant. I have no problem serving out of love, but I am not serving for validation. Do you understand what I'm saying? There are things that we do for other people out of love, but not because we are looking or seeking their validation. And it's the validation of the not knowing all the things that you picked up along the route of life. You get to change it. You get to take your name back. Right? You get to unlearn it. You get to reclaim yourself. If you did not care what they thought of you, who would you become today? I'm tired of talking to you. Bye.